Okay, we have a very special poem reading, another poem reading. This time it's by a guy that fascinated me. Was it yesterday in your Venus talk? Yeah, about terraforming Venus. I didn't even know. So that was a fascinating talk if you got to see it. Now, Jeffrey Landis, he is a researcher at NASA Glenn. And he works with the Mars exploration rovers. He's on the science team for them, so obviously that's a fascinating bit of work there. He's also an award-winning author. He's won more awards than I can possibly list by the looks of it. And his one book that I wanted to mention was Mars Crossing. Apparently it's out of print, but hopefully I want it back in because I want to read it. So he's a winner of Hugo and Nebula Awards. So these are all big awards. And he is now, he's also an award-winning poet, so you're going to hear some of his talent now. And this is a topic very close to my heart because I've been following it very, very closely with Discovery News, and it always gets loads of hits. People are very, very concerned, of course, about Mars rover Spirit. So I hand over to Jeffrey now.
Thank you. Actually, this was a poem that I wrote for the Spirit rover last Martian winter when we were having a lot of problems finding sunlight as the sun was getting to be low in the north as the days were getting very short. So I decided I'd write Spirit a poem and maybe it would cheer Spirit's heart up a little bit. The Spirit rover longs to bask in sunshine. Although one crippled wheel drags behind, we must outrace the setting of the sun. To survive the winter for which we weren't designed, Spirit must drive to find a sunlit home. The burned-out wheel drags soil like a plow, excavating sand to drag upon our motion. We dig through sand to sulfate salt below, the buried trace of ancient, vanished ocean. We cannot pause to follow up. We move or die. We cannot stop. To tilt its solar cells to the day's sun, we need a hillside angled to the north. Spirit must strive to reach a winter haven, for winter comes and days grow cold and short. Actually, that was previous Martian winter. We're now in the middle of our fourth Martian winter on Mars. Actually, Spirit lost the race against the sun this winter, and we are now hibernating. Spirit's asleep. So if everything goes well, Spirit should wake up again when the days grow longer again. As Martian spring approaches, that should be perhaps in September or October. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. Thank you.
I look forward to the poem next year when Spirit wakes up. So hopefully it'll be a very positive story. Now, in a slight change to this schedule, we've got another special guest. And I just heard about this wonderful story about Doris Sutton. She's over here. And she wrote a poem, actually, back in the 1940s. And it's called Marsmonaut. And it's a surprising little story. She actually wrote it just before meeting Paul, her husband, who's with her tonight. And of course, this was written during the World War II. And she wrote quite a lot of poems, especially about pilots. And as it turns out, she inadvertently describes solar sails. Of course, this was before the concept really had any relevance in the real world. But in this poem, she actually has a very decidedly solar sail twist. So I'll hand over to Doris now. In fact, her poem was actually published in 2001. So it's out there if you want to read it. In fact, I think she's got some copies with her. So welcome, Doris, to the stage.
Wonderful. Well, this is the most unexpected privilege for me to
even attend this wonderful forum and to be asked to read this poem that I wrote in the early years of World War II is really beyond dream. I can't tell you how impressed I am with your brilliant minds and poetic vision. You're just so wonderful, all of you, and you're going to lead mankind to spaces and places that the people of my generation had no grasp of. And I'm really in awe of all of you. Now, this poem, I was born in 1920, and I was a single girl in New York during the early war years. And among the many little jobs I had was one as poetry editor of the Fine Editions Press. A lovely, beautiful, poetic mind named Gustav Davidson invited me into that job. And the world was full of planes at that point, all kinds of excitement about planes in the sky and dreams of going beyond our Earth, I think. And I wrote a lot of poems about pilots, and it's all romantic. It's not scientific, but poets are dreamers, you know, and they don't even know where their poems come from. I didn't pay much attention to this particular poem. It was entitled Marsmonaut, but it was included in a small anthology in 2001. And I've been married to Paul now for almost 65 years, and he read this poem, Marsmonaut, in 2001, and he said, "My goodness, where did you get these ideas?" And I said, "Well, I don't know." The world was aflame with the excitement of flying. I think that was the time when we saw flight take real meaning in executing the war. Anyway, this is Marsmonaut, and see if you think it has anything significant in it. If it does, it was not because I had any inkling of what reality was. It was a poet's dream, I think. Marsmonaut. You will be exiled from the wingless earth, identified with stars and flaming suns, flinging beyond the orbit of man's birth, beyond the arc and fury of man's guns, into silent worlds, the high white places, where rain is myth, absent God's own thunder. You will see prophets, look into their faces, plumb their realm of agony and wonder. You, in your capsule, alien and alone, plummeting in peril up the skylands, drifting on sun wind to a dim unknown, probing savage strangeness in the highlands. You will know triumph, terror, and delight, transcending death in deathless cosmic flight. It was just a classic sonnet. You know, nobody writes classic sonnets anymore, but this is one of them. And I have maybe 40 copies of this poem. If anybody would like a copy, Paul has 40 copies. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. I will go home so inspired, so thrilled, because I know you're carrying the torch, and Paul and I won't be around to see it, but you'll do it. You, every one of you, will do it. So, onward.
Thank you, Doris. That was wonderful. Okay, so now I believe we have some more door prizes. Is it prize time? How many prizes have you got? And do I get one?
Hero, could you come in? It's okay. Alrighty. Would you like to?
Sure. 621746.
Okay, and this one was for another, I'll get it right, Fisher Space Pen.
Awesome, Fisher Space Pen. Fisher Space Pen.
Okay. Another one?
Okay.
Go ahead.
621,666. 621666.
All right. Now, this was the last of the Mars Camp door prizes, and it's Space for Kids. And one more.
Okay. Six two one six seven six. Anybody?
All right.
This one is the case for Mars.
And Gus, I know you probably have at least one of these, but Robert will sign it.
Thank you.
Oh, I have one more. So I wouldn't have to do that. Okay, one more. Whoopsie. Let's put that one back in.
Okay, and this one is 621763. Anybody? 621763. Mom?
Well, try again.
All right,
No, don't, okay, that's okay.
sorry. All right, 621662. 621662.
Okay, I know you guys now are scared you're going to get some more of those kids' prizes, okay? But no, this one is a Mars Pyramid Paperweight, so look.
Okay, now that you know that, I'll probably choose another one. And please do it this time. Thank you. 621614.
All right. Thank you.
Now, I believe we are going to awards, more awards. It's award time. So, this is totally not my domain. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Kevin Sloan, and for the last 4 years, I've had a very wonderful privilege. I've been able to work with some of the absolute best, brightest, most talented college students not just in the country, really in the world. The University Rover Challenge has